Aloha mai kako. So in this video, what I want to go over is this section in Lesson 1, Part 2, Intro to HTML Image Tag. So I'm going to start here at Part 2. So how do you create an assets folder and how do you add your image to your folder. So if you haven't done so yet, you want to pause this video and make sure that you have an image on hand, or you can go ahead and grab an image off of Creative Commons if you'd like to try that route. You can also just use an image that you have on your computer to complete this part. So once again, we're going to start right here at Part 2. So let's head on over to our Replit project. So here we are in Replit. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a folder for all our assets. And so when you're building a website, it's really good from the beginning to have a folder where you're going to have all your assets. So you might be asking yourself what's considered an asset. So things like videos or images, and other maybe audio files, other things that you are going to have available on your website. So let's go ahead and let's create our assets folder to help us organize our website development workspace. So you're going to go over here to add folder. And here you see the folder has been added. Now you want to give it a name. So we're going to call it assets. And notice that it's set up to put everything in order here. So the assets folder is going to move above the script.js file. And from here, we're going to add a file. And the file that I want you guys to add right now is the image that you would like to include in your website. So I'm going to add a file, upload file. And here's my Hawaii waterfall image. And notice that it pops up here. So it's uploaded to the Replit project. But there's an issue here. As you notice, it's not in the assets directory or folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it and drop it right into the assets folder. And so if I close my assets folder right here by selecting this this part right here, you'll notice that when I open it, you can see that my file is there. Okay, so we have our image file. It's in the assets folder. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to display our image in the preview. So how are we going to do that? You've probably already have the answer. We have to use the image tag in order to display the image in the preview, or in the browser on a website. And so what we're going to do is, since you've already completed that worksheet, you can go ahead and refer back to that, or you can follow along. So we're going to use that image tag, and that stands for source there. So on my line 18, we have a completed image tag, except we don't have the source available yet within our image tag. And so what we need to do is we need to provide the pathway. Sometimes it's going to be a link to that image. In this case, it's in the assets folder. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the assets folder first. And then you want to make sure that you know the exact name of your image file. In my case, it's Hawaii waterfall.jpg. So if you hover over it, it'll give you the full name. So mine is Hawaii waterfall.jpg. And so once again, I have the image tag here. I've got the pathway to the source for my image file. And I've got this closing caret here. So remember I said sometimes buddies look, sometimes not all tags have buddies. So the image tag, right, doesn't have the same kind of buddy tag that the paragraph or the heading tag has. So it's just something you have to remember. And if you forget, just go ahead and Google it, as we talked about just being really resourceful and figuring that out. But let's just make sure that I did this correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and run. And there's my image. So go ahead and try it on your own. This concludes lesson 1. So you've completed all the parts if you've made it here. You're ready to now move on to lesson 2. Aloha!